Thank you so much for having me here today. It is my absolute honor to do this opening remark. As a former refugee advocate, human rights defender, and also representing Asia Pacific Refugee Rights Network as the voices of marginalized groups across the globe. As you all are aware of, Asia Pacific Refugee Rights Network is a network of 450 refugee rights, human rights, community-based and individual members across 38 countries joining their mobilization, capacity building and advocacy efforts to advance the rights of refugees and migrants in the Asia Pacific region for the past 14 years. And Asia Pacific Rights Network is also a very strong network in promoting and protecting the rights of refugees and forced migrants. The majority of our membership is grassroots, with a constant engagement on the field with refugees, if not as refugee communities themselves. So before I start this opening remark, I just want to go back to one of the facts it has been mentioned in the keynote of this event, just to give the overview of refugee crisis right now at the moment. As of now, according to the UNHCR Global Report 2019, we're speaking about 86.5 million of people becoming the concern to UNHCR worldwide. That includes 4.1 million asylum seekers and 20.4 million refugees. Of course, this number around 4 million, which is 20% of this population, are in Asia and in the Pacific region. In addition, the Asia and the Pacific region is a home to 1.9 million IDPs and 1.4 million stateless people, according to UNHCR report again. So speaking of the Asia Pacific region, as you all are aware of, there are many countries in Asia Pacific region which did not sign UN Convention 9051. That includes Malaysia, Thailand, Bangladesh, and Indonesia. So the asylum seekers, refugees, and stateless people in the Asia Pacific countries which did not sign UN Convention 9051 are deprived from many rights. That includes the access to medication, healthcare, education, employment, and that also deprive them to have the decent, dignified human life that every human being deserve to have. So the younger generation of refugees in many host countries and refugee camps growing up as of now today are not having access to either formal or informal education access. Even if they have some sort of informal or formal education, it is not sustainable or standard education for the many other younger people in different countries who have better status. Although it is stated in the Article 28 under the CRC, the Convention of Child Rights stated that the right to education is the right of every children, regardless of their status. And while we understand the burden of host countries of hosting many refugees and forced migrants, we also believe that it is our humanitarian obligation and responsibility to promote and protect the rights of refugees and forcibly forced migrants, to ensure that refugees and forced migrants do not only survive in those countries, but thrive. So there is a possibility to make it happen through collaboration and responsibility sharing among INGOs, NGOs, individuals, refugee-led organizations, and POC-led organizations with different expertise and resources. And of course, the meaningful participation of refugees is essential and is one of the key elements in influencing the policy to promote and protect the rights of refugee and forced migrants. When we talk about resolving refugee crisis and issues across the globe, we have come up with 3 solutions as of now. Durable solution, which we always talk about to make better of the livelihood of refugees in host country through responsibility sharing and easing the burden of the host countries. And of course, the other 2 are resettlement and repatriation. However, as we all are aware of, repatriation and resettlement, it is not very practical, or it is not possible to make it happen within short term. It is kind of long-term solution, and also resettlement is a very small proportion to many refugees. As we all are aware of, less than 1% of refugees get resettled. And repatriation is a very long, politically sensitive and bureaucratic process. And so as of now, we are really looking at the short-term solution, which is making the life of refugees in the host country better and making sure that they have a decent, dignified human lives. With the ongoing situation in both Myanmar and in Afghanistan right now, people are escaping every single day for safety and protection. We need to think and prepare how does this displacement of this new refugee population is going to look like. Again, we have to ensure that refugees have a safe and dignified lives where their rights will be promoted and protected and respected. As a network, Asia Pacific Refugee Rights Network has been sharing information and resources among the members and organizations and individuals for advocacy and providing information to the people who are in need. APREN has also released an urgent statement in regard to the situation of Afghanistan on 21st August. Moving forward on this journey of resolving refugee issues, I can see the only way I can see right now is through responsibility sharing among INGOs, NGOs, individuals with different expertise and resources, while we also ensure the refugee-led organizations are empowered and the meaningful participation of refugees is at its core. It has been more than 6 or 7 decades that we have been talking about refugee issues. When we reflect and learn the good practices from the past, and when we stand together in solidarity, I believe that we can surely respond to the refugee crisis better than the past, where the rights of refugees, I will repeat this again, will be protected and respected. And I hope this conference will allow the people to connect and facilitate knowledge and experiences, and to really look at how does that responsibility sharing will look like to better resolve refugee and forced migrant crisis in future. And thank you so much.